is my first time in Denmark and my first time to be able to present Buell in this kind of way. And we call this the Trilogy Tour. Okay, so who's Craig Jones? Well, I started 10 years ago, and it was just for fun. The guy that noticed me had a Triumph dealership, and he offered me a ride on Triumph. So I took that, and I spent 1 year working for him through Triumph. So I was riding Triumph motorcycles for 1 year. I then moved from there and I went to Suzuki because I was able to push myself a little bit further. So I rode Suzuki's for a private company for 2 years, but still it was never an official sponsorship from a factory. Still it was always through private companies. And then finally I went to Honda UK, and Honda UK used me for 6 months, and they didn't really know what to do with me because, you know, what do you do with this guy, this stuntman? How do you use it as your marketing plan? And they didn't know. I went to Australia and I performed at the Formula 1 Grand Prix. And while I was there, I tried a Buell. It was just for fun again. It was really to scare the guy that presented the Buells as courtesy bikes, because we were going to give him these bikes, say, thank you, there's the bikes, and there's some photographs, and this is what we've been doing on them, you know, so it was just to frighten him. Anyway, I liked the Buells. I realised that there was a potential there. I returned back to England, and I presented myself to Harley-Davidson UK. Immediately they said, yes, we'd like to have you. This was my break, because this, for the first time anywhere in the world, was a factory sponsorship. It's what I was working towards, because it's very difficult for people to take you seriously. You know, you're a nutcase, you're a stuntman on a bike, how can someone take you seriously? And finally, Buell took me seriously and took me on board. A woman, I had a pair of boobies, I had a wig and makeup, and I didn't look like her. In fact, the director was extremely shocked when he saw me dressed as a woman. But the idea as a stuntman is to be able to do everything and the tricks of the camera, disguise you. But basically, yes, I was Angelina Jolie's stunt double, and I was brought in as a specialist because to be a stuntman, an official stuntman, you have to be disciplined in 7 disciplines. And you know, I'm purely a rider. That's it. So I was brought in as a specialist, and they brought me in to go onto the front wheel and flip it through 180 degrees, and that's all I was brought in for. But I ended up doing all of the motorcycling in the movie. So every part in Tomb Raider 1, the first movie of Tomb Raider, you'll see all the motorcycling is myself. Okay. I've used the word stuntology. I don't even know if that word exists, but basically, Buell has put a great contribution to stuntology around the world, because they've been my sponsors since 2000, and giving me the ability to use their bikes and giving me all of the backing, I've put myself all around the world, and images of myself have been all around the world. I've developed stunts by using Buells, and I've been able to show to many thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, you know, showmanship using the 3 principles of the stunt rider. You really need to learn how to do a wheelie, standing the bike onto the back. Taking different bikes. Some of these bikes are just standard, just, you know, literally unmodified at all. That was in the streets of Dubai, and actually the police in Dubai didn't mind me doing that, which is pretty cool. You need to learn to do a stoppie, riding the bike on the front wheel. Now in 2003, this was the official world record run. So, hitting the front brake, this was from 130 miles an hour, 208 kilometers per hour, carrying it through. Now, you can't detect there, but all the time I am correcting the steering, very small movements, left to right, left to right, left to right, because every bike wants to naturally, the back end wants to go to the left or to the right, and you have to keep correcting to keep the straight line going. And you need to learn to burn out, to get the rear wheel spinning, to go around to the left, to the right. It's what we call a donut. So this is just a short 3-minute brief piece. And you can see that's where I'm actually explaining myself to the audience, what I'm doing all the time. To go faster. Now Buells aren't the fastest bikes in the world, so I could only get a maximum top speed. 208 kilometers per hour is the exact making 130 miles per hour. So that is the actual speed. 208 kilometres per hour was the terminal speed at which I hit the front brake and then carried 266 metres. Okay, that was it, maximum, no more. From that speed, I then hit the front brakes and I carried a distance of 266 metres. Now that is 2.5 football pitches distance. It's a long, long, long way. And that record is the official world record, and that record still stands in the official Guinness Book of World Records. Nobody has beaten it officially. There's many people that claim, but nobody's beaten it officially. I got fed up with people claiming to have done this and done that, so I went out and did it. And so it's official. It's there. The crazy things that we do is Wing, who is my co-pilot, he's downstairs, my passenger. We put him on the front, and we actually drag his head along the floor, and the sparks coming off there because we use titanium. It's all part of being a showman, but it's a little crazy, and people have a problem understanding what the hell's going on. But it's all part of the show, and people go away scratching their head thinking, wow, that's mad, that's crazy. And he's actually crazier than me. Okay, last year, 2006, we decided to carry a world record now with Wing on the front, he faces me. Now if you think about it, it's his weight against my weight, so it's like a pendulum effect. And it actually creates a perfect balance for me. So the fastest I could get was it was around about 200 kilometres per hour, because having him on the front has the wind resistance of a brick, you know. We're into the wind and we're struggling to get a top speed. But at Donington Park in England, I carried 305 metres with him on the front. Right, this was the record run in 2006. I'm commentating myself all the way through, just a radio mic. It's a long, long way. It was a long, long way. Vertical burnouts. Now, the thing about fuel is, unlike many other conventional engines, is that it's a dry sump system. So the oil is in the swinging arm, and the swinging arm is actually, in effect, an oil reservoir. And it doesn't matter whether the bike is flat or the bike is vertical, it always gets a flow of oil around the engine. So that means that I can stand the bike up and I don't have to worry about oil starvation. So another trick in the show is to actually stand the bike up vertical with Wing on the top sometimes, okay, and then we burn out, and it's a crazy engine. So I've seen so many guys out there who can do this stunt, but then the engine just goes bang because they're starving of oil. 2002 won the European Championships. Now this was the old Buell X1 Lightning, which is the tubular frame model, because being calm and cool and collected on a bike is all part of being able to stay in control. And you will surprise yourself how far you can push a bike with your existing ability. Everybody's got it in them, you've just got to extract it out of there. So the Trilogy Tour is all about pushing people a little bit further. Alright, quite often there's cameras in there, I'm just a showman, just perform, and you just go into an automatic mode. It flows pretty well, it works well, everybody's normally pretty happy with it. But today is all about Buell, but I mean there's totally different sets of footage on Harley-Davidsons, and some of the things I can do on Harley-Davidsons, they weren't designed to do that, and the engineers in Milwaukee have shook their head and said, for God's sake, you know, because they're now seeing images of the underside of a Harley, and they said they need to start looking at the style of the underneath because you're seeing images of it and it's ugly.